Are you ready for part 2? Fasten your seatbelts and let's go. I am Diana Paul, I am pro-life, and you are going to find out why. Welcome, beautiful people, to the second part of the series Why I Am Pro-Life. There will be also a part 3, which I wasn't aware of either until I've seen how much information I have to tell you. If you haven't watched the first video yet, I recommend you do so. I put a link in the description for this video. And now let me repeat what I said in the first episode. I don't condemn anyone, whether you had an abortion, whether you support abortion, whether you practice abortions. But I will do whatever I can to fight against the ideas that you support. Not you, the ideas that you support. Because there is no way around the fact that they encourage the murder of innocent children. And that is criminal. Last time I talked about why abortion is killing a living human being and why my body, my choice, is not a valid argument to support abortion. So I will continue the series with 2 more videos, but today I will answer the questions. Is abortion ever medically necessary? Do illegal abortions kill women? And what is the real impact of abortion on women? Ready? Steady? Let's go! Well. Is abortion ever medically necessary? There's a short answer and a long answer for this. And the short answer is no. Abortion is never medically necessary. Abortion is not healthcare to be medically necessary. Because guess what? Pregnancy is not a disease. What a shock! If you believe pregnancy is a disease, I suggest you actually go to a doctor. There are many doctors who confirm that abortion is never medically necessary, including Dr. Anthony Levatino, who performed over 1,500 abortions and testified before Congress about this, saying that he had never had to deliberately kill a child in order to save the life of the mother. This was also confirmed by the Physicians Ad Hoc Coalition for Truth, confirmed by Dr. Harlan Giles, a professor of high-risk obstetrics and perinatology at the College of Pennsylvania, in a sworn testimony, and confirmed by neonatologist Kendra Kolb, who said that even in the most high-risk pregnancies, there is no medical reason why the life of the child must be directly and intentionally ended with an abortion procedure. She adds that in certain cases, the mother has to be given medical treatments, and those medical treatments, unfortunately, may result in the tragic loss of the baby, in a miscarriage. But while those treatments try to save the life of the mother, so it's 100% that they try to make the mother better, the abortion 100% will kill the child and harm the mother. She also adds that in the case in which the mother's life is truly in danger, the pregnancy must end and the child must be delivered alive. Dr. Anthony Levatino gives a perfect example for this. If a woman comes to you in a critical condition, high blood pressure, 3rd trimester pregnancy, what are you going to do? You have 2 options. First, you perform an abortion on her, which would take around 2 to 3 days to complete. She is not sure that she will survive with that condition and the child is definitely going to get killed. Or second, you do a C-section, a cesarean. The mother and the child both will be safe and sound and alive. Which do you think is the more reasonable solution? Let me add that there is indeed one exception to the rule, but that's one exception only, when the pregnancy is fatal for both the mother and the child. That is an ectopic pregnancy, when the child implants in the mother's fallopian tubes or somewhere outside the uterus. There have been very rare cases in which the child survives, but the chance is extremely small. But, and there's a big but, there are 2 things you have to remember. First, a majority of ectopic pregnancies are never treated, around 68 to 77%, so they just result in miscarriages. Second, the medical intervention required in an ectopic pregnancy is not an abortion, so don't try to use this to legalize abortion because it doesn't work. The intent of the physician is to save the mother, not to kill the child, who unfortunately cannot be saved by current medical technology, according to the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians, who also add, for these reasons, we recognize the unavoidable loss of human life that occurs in an ectopic pregnancy, but does not consider treatment of ectopic pregnancy by standard surgical or medical procedures to be the moral equivalent of elective abortion, or to be the wrongful taking of a human life. In a letter submitted by the leaders of 5 medical professional organizations representing over 30 100,000 physicians, it is explained why abortion is not medically necessary. I won't read the whole letter, but remember these two things. After 20 weeks fertilization age, it is not necessary to intentionally kill the child in order to save the life of the mother. Instead, immediate delivery is needed. And second, the fact that over 85% of obstetricians gynecologists do not perform abortions on their patients is glaring evidence that abortion is not part of a woman's healthcare. And I encourage you to Google it. With a quick search on Google, you'll find out that only 14% of OBGYNs in the United States perform abortions. And that is according to a study published in the Journal of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Let me explain. If the same person with the same medical condition goes to 100 different doctors, 15 of them will say, "We will perform an abortion on you." 85 of them will say, "You don't need an abortion." So, if abortion was truly indispensable, certainly more doctors would perform it, considering the oath that they took when they became physicians, the Hippocratic Oath, in which, by the way, one of the promises says, "Do no harm." And what could be the biggest harm? Killing the patient. What does abortion do? It kills the baby. And it hurts the mother 100% in a way or another. Oh, sorry, I just realized that this argument won't have any value to you if you meant that abortions are medically necessary in the sense that it saved the life of the mother from illegal abortions because illegal abortions are more unsafe than legal abortions. Is that what you meant? Let me explain. Another classic take on abortion is this. Even if abortions were made illegal, there would still be thousands of illegal, unsafe abortions which will cause women to die. What a lie! The paradox is that the propagator of this lie, former abortionist Dr. Bernard Nathanson, along with Larry Lader, who co-founded NARAL, the biggest pro-abortion group in the United States, confessed that it was a lie, saying, "How many deaths were we talking about when abortion was illegal?" In NARAL, we generally emphasize the drama of the individual case, not the mass statistics. But when we spoke of the latter, about the mass statistics, it was always 5,000 to 10,000 deaths a year. I confess that I knew the figures were totally false. And I can back that up with statistical proof. The CDC, the National Center for Chronic Disease Prevention and Health Promotion in the United States, in a study between 1993 and 1997, in which it gathered data from all the 50 states, had the following results. 36 women died due to complications from legal induced abortions, 3 women died due to complications from illegal induced abortions, 39 deaths were due to spontaneous abortions, and only 2 women died due to abortions of unknown type. The truth is, women still die from legal abortions. You just replace the number of women dying from illegal abortions with the number of women dying from legal abortions. The basic flaw in this argument is the false assumption that a change in the legal status can make safe a medical act, abortion, which is inherently unsafe. Not to mention that society completely missed the fact that not a single study shows that abortion, for any given reason, benefits the health of the woman. Abortion is instead associated with the worsening of the economic, physical, emotional, and social well-being of the woman. The fact that over time less women die due to abortion is not because abortion was made legal, it's because of medicine. And this is confirmed, guess by who? By a former Planned Parenthood director called Mary Calderon, who in an article from the American Journal of Public Health in July 1960 says, in 1957, that's when abortion was still illegal, there were only 260 deaths in the whole country attributed to abortions of any kind. Second, and even more important, the conference estimated that 90% of all illegal abortions are presently being done by physicians. So, increased safety of abortion in modern times is not because of legality, but because of improved medical technology. The pro-choice side continues to claim that no law can stop this desperate woman from having an abortion, whether it is safe or not. Are you serious? Why on earth do we have laws then? It's a reasonable question to ask if you tell me that no law can stop or discourage people from doing a certain act. The idea that illegal abortions will still take place despite the law is not an argument for having no law. You're not going to legalize theft just because people are stealing, even if theft is illegal. Of course, laws concerning abortion have significantly influenced whether women choose to have an abortion or not. In a report by the CDC, it stated that, quote, from 1970 through 1982, the reported number of legal abortions in the United States increased every year, taking into account that in 1973 abortion was legalized in the United States. If the legality didn't influence a woman's willingness to have an abortion, the number wouldn't be massively increasing. The National Abortion Federation proves that a woman's decision to abort can be very influenceable. For example, a woman who lives close to abortion facilities is twice as likely to abort as a woman who doesn't. a woman who has her abortion publicly paid for is up to 3 times as likely to abort. So the more convenient it is for a woman to abort, the more likely it is that she will do it. After legalization, it is easier for boyfriends and families to insist that because abortion is legal, it must be safe. And because abortion is socially approved, it must be moral. Legalization makes it easier to pressure women into unwanted abortions. In the description below, I left a link to a document in which there are recorded tens of such cases, in which women were forced to have abortions despite their will. So the law is put there with a reason, to encourage and educate people to choose better alternatives. Here's another alternative for you. Instead of legalizing abortion, we should pass laws which would allow women who undergo illegal abortions to sue the abortionists. Because they will be prosecuted and there will be no way to escape justice, abortionists will not dare to do abortions anymore, or they will be so hidden that it will be very difficult to find them in the first place. In conclusion, there are 3 main problems with the argument that women will continue to have abortions even if they are illegal and unsafe. First, it completely ignores the fact that abortion is killing a living human being. Second, it falsely claims that laws against abortion will not discourage women from having one. And third, there's no evidence to show that illegal abortions are more dangerous than legal abortions. And now let's go to the third and final question for today. What are the real consequences of abortion on women? No matter your opinion, it's again scientifically proven that a woman who undergoes an abortion is worse off, without exception. There are short-term and long-term consequences as well as physical and psychological effects on the women. The Elliot Institute is a well-known organization which conducts research on the effects of abortion on women, men, families, and society, and in a report with data from different studies shows that most abortions are forced, most women are misinformed about abortion, and their health is worsened as a result of abortion. In terms of statistics, I will tell you only a couple of them, but in the description I left a link to the whole report, which I encourage you to go and read. So the numbers are from studies made on thousands of women who went through the abortion procedure, and the results showed the following. 65% of women suffer multiple symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. 10% have immediate complications, some are life-threatening. There is a 3.5 times higher risk of death from all causes, and suicide rates are 6 times higher if the woman aborts versus if the woman gives birth. But you know when it becomes worse? When you find out this, 79% of the women were not told of available resources. Hello? Pro-choice people, where are you? You're talking about choices, but apparently abortion is the only way. How convenient. This is linked to coerced abortions, forced abortions when women didn't want them. Coercion usually occurs in times of vulnerability and uncertainty when women don't have enough information, and the tactics include manipulation, violence, or even homicide, which is the leading killer of pregnant women. Yes, you heard me right. Most pregnant women die because of homicide. And to what can we attribute this? Of course, to the legalization of abortion, but more than that, to this toxic idea which was implemented in the society that abortion is the only way and the only choice, which is a lie, as you will see in the next video. This was part 2 of the series Why I Am Pro-Life. In the next video, get ready to find out the details about abortion in cases of rape, disability, and, believe it or not, overpopulation. I myself am shocked to find out how people manage to create arguments that sound reasonable to justify a so-called necessary evil. As we have seen, abortion is only evil, not necessary. I will just remind you to hit the like button if you found valuable information in this video. Don't forget to subscribe to be the first one who watches part 3, and I will see you in the next video when we will finally be able to say knockout to the pro-abortion industry. I'm Diana Paul, I'm pro-life, and you just watched Brave Truth.
Vinovați fără vină, ce să se facă?